Okay, welcome back everyone to theCUBE's coverage of AWS Summit 2022 here in San Francisco, California. The summit in New York City's coming in the summer. We'll be there as well. We've got two great guests here. We've got Asim Razzaq, CEO of Yotascale, and Ravinder Arepally, Director of Engineering Okta, here talking about cloud management, cloud scale, all the good stuff. Got a customer and a CEO. Love these sessions. Thanks for coming on theCUBE. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, so let's get into the company first. What's the update on you guys? What are you guys doing here? And then I'd love to get the customer conversation.
Yeah, just by way of a quick intro, I'm co-founder and CEO of Yotascale. And prior to Yotascale, I was head of platform engineering at PayPal and eBay, where I ran core infrastructure. So the company is an outcome of my love-hate relationship with public cloud, which is love the flexibility, the agility, the optionality, but had a lot of challenges with respect to making the economics work. Right, so at Yotascale, we help companies that have modern infrastructure. So it's multi-cloud, it's cloud native, it is microservices. We help them manage this in a few different ways. So we have a dynamic cloud cost management product that delivers unmatched observability, so cost observability. So this is down to a service level, an application level, a product level. Because if you don't get the dynamic attribution right, you're effectively flying blind in these scenarios. We also provide very high level of predictability, which means forecasting for different business units, for different services, for different departments, where the money is headed, so action can be taken ahead of time. And then finally, we help you make your cloud infrastructure more efficient. And at the heart of that is engineering empowerment. So we deliver highly actionable recommendations that engineering teams can implement very quickly and then really move the ball forward for themselves.
So you're looking at, it's kind of makes me think about, I won't say break, fix, that's the old paradigm. Oh, something broke, fix it. You're looking at the cost and saying, hey, well, we're paying extra here. That can be optimized, right? That's kind of where you guys come from, and down to the kind of low level service.
Yeah.
You surface that up, and then say, maybe switch this around. What's the common use cases that you see?
Yeah, it's multiple part, right? The first, it starts with visibility, because there are different stakeholders. Finance is a stakeholder, engineering is a stakeholder, budget owners are a stakeholder. So getting the visibility right in the context of a company. So a company might want to look at cost in terms of products, domain, services, applications. Another company might want to look at it very differently. So that's the first part, this first use case, because you can't really optimize something you can measure.
Got it, exactly.
That's the piece, right? So once we get all of that attribution dynamically going, using some third-party data that we pull in as well, then the optimization becomes very, very concrete. So for the engineering teams, we can give them different scenarios, right? So you could have an analytics team that's over-provisioned their infrastructure, maybe they're using cloud native, so go in and say, here are different scenarios. In one scenario, you can save money and have less headroom. In another scenario, you can do the reverse or opposite. So those trade-offs are very important.
You know, it's interesting, that's one question that can be answered by every stakeholder is, what are you optimizing for?
Right.
Because everyone's, budget,
right.
Finance, engineering, uptime, high availability, service levels, cool codes, everything's moving smooth. So very good question. Ravinder, let's bring you in here as a customer. What's your connection here relative to the value proposition? What was your aha moment around Yotascale?
Yeah, thanks for having us here. I manage engineering services at Okta, and my team owns a lot of infrastructure which is used by all engineering teams at Okta. So there are a few challenges we definitely have. I mean, we own a lot of infrastructure which is used by multiple teams. Definitely cloud is great, but it also comes with a lot of challenges when it comes to managing costs. A few challenges definitely are visibility is one. We definitely wanted to have a lot of visibility into our AWS cost so that we know, where we are spending and we can optimize it and manage them better. And the next one is the ownership and also accountability. Since multiple teams uses AWS infrastructure and managed by one central team, there is no clear ownership or accountability. So we definitely wanted to make sure we have a better visibility so that we can bring the culture of accountability and ownership also. And other one is the forecasting. We wanted to have a better forecasting so that we know where teams are related to their budget. This also will help us in our budgeting, and also we can have better conversations with our finance team. So at the end, basically, we all wanted to make sure we save money. So these are main things. So because of all these challenges, we also wanted to bring a culture of cloud cost ownerships to the teams and who are responsible and actually, and also so that they are accountable for all their costs. So because of all these challenges, and also before it's too late, we wanted to make sure we spend time and actually look at cloud cost management solutions. So these are the definitely main few things. And aha moment, as you asked, definitely when we started, Yotascale, we are started looking at where actually the cost is being spent and where is the wastage. So we started looking at some anomalies. So that's when actually we figured, okay, this is great.
At some point when you're successful, I love this love-hate, because like, you love the cloud, and well, we're spending a lot of cash, or an engineer leaves a service open, and where'd this line item come from? So you get all these kind of cool side effects of the benefits, but also painful. And the question I want to ask you is, Asim, is that ownership is a cultural thing too, right? Ownership is saying, hey, we're scaling, who owns what service?
That's right.
This is a huge challenge. Because then it's like, hey, he owns it.
That's
she
right.
owns it. I'm the DevOps person. Wait a minute, I'm not. So how does that evolve? Because I could see this being one of those scenarios where, okay, we're going to start getting some more organizational discipline in. There's a technical piece and a cultural piece.
That's right. Yeah, and they go hand in hand, right? Because the challenge is, as I mentioned, modern day infrastructure. You have sometimes in a scenario, millions of resources that are going up and some of them are coming down. You have cloud native, which is a shared infrastructure, so back to your point, like who owns it? Well, I don't know who owns it, right? There has to be some fractional cost that gets spread around. Multi-cloud is increasingly becoming a thing, so certainly AWS is the leader in the space, but sometimes companies have other cloud providers in there as well. And the challenge is that engineering teams, they have the most stressful job. They have to deploy the product, right? They have to move the business forward, security, reliability, performance, and now this is this additional entrant which requires them to be a PhD in cost economics, right? So where we help is that data trust. So really getting to the granular level of this is what your team owns on an ongoing basis. You don't have to do death by tagging is what I call, like you're just tagging resources all day long playing whack-a-mole. And once that ownership and the data is clear, you can go in, exactly see what you own, what do you need to do about it. There's a conversation, as Ravinder was saying, with finance on what actions we can take, right? And we provide a very strong collaborative workflow between finance and engineering as well, where they can annotate these things.
Ravinder, one of the things I love about cloud too is that engineers can actually have an impact on the budget. And like, hey, how about throwing me a parade today because I just made some changes, knocked down our bill by engineering things differently. This is like always happening now.
Yeah,
it was never the case. It was, here's your budget, go build something.
Yes,
Not anymore.
Yeah, I think once we show the visibility of at a granular level, definitely engineering teams also want to make sure, this is what we didn't know we were spending so much. Let's do something better so that we can optimize our AWS costs. At the end, we are saving money for the company.
So I can see the dots connecting right now on this. So let's just take, in business, it's our high level metrics are cost of a customer and all the business metrics.
Right.
Now you have the ability to put together high level metrics around optimization. So you got the knobs. Is there patterns that you see emerging around what customers are doing around high level metrics that the knobs that they're turning? Obviously cost is one, but in cloud, what are some of the key variables that you see that are really being hammered home here?
Yeah, the variables for the top-down economics or the metrics would be profitability, margin, cost of customer goods sold. So pricing is another one, right? So Zoom is one of our customers. The recording feature, how much does it cost? How much should I be charging the customer as a result of that? So the health of the business is definitely at stake. So it's about trade-offs, right? So if you're spending too much money in an application that's not generating revenue, you know what to do, right? Unless you're doing it with your eyes wide open, which is, look, this is an R&D project that's going to end in 2 weeks or so, right? As companies are going IPO, they're public companies, now there's a lot more scrutiny. Cloud bill is starting to increasingly become the second biggest line item after payroll. So I think those metrics are important.
Of course.
The challenge though is that, as you said, engineering teams have a lot of influence over this. And if you do not understand the bottoms-up economics, you have no shot at making the trade-offs on the top-down economics.
Yeah, what's interesting, I was just talking to a friend at lunch about this one issue around how people want to change structural things when they see things changing, and sometimes they have bad data. And repatriation is something that we see in the cloud. Hey, we're spending, wait, let's bring it on premises. But if they screw that up on the decision, they might be making a sub-optimized decision.
Right.
It might not be repatriate. It might be like stay in the cloud and refactor this. or have that data? Because that's a huge decision. The impact and consequences, you can quantify that.
Yeah, certainly, and I think it's back to don't react, respond, right? Be deliberate about the strategy, because you have bill shock in cloud doesn't mean you automatically just take a bunch of workloads and put them on-prem. Because I mean, there's a lot of innovation in cloud, and these days if you really can own the technology and own the economics of it, right, you will be further along with respect to your competitor. I mean, even if you look at all the offerings that AWS has to offer you, how are you going to replicate that in an on-prem environment? I mean, that's a very challenging.
I think your Zoom example is interesting. You talk about the record feature when you record meetings, right?
That's right.
Oh, storage is involved?
Exactly.
Did it help the customer? Are they doing a lot of it? Are they doing cloud storage, local storage? Are they renewing and adding licenses?
That's right.
You can measure that.
Yeah, exactly. It helps cross-functionally because the product teams can make decisions around how should we be pricing this, and they can inform the sales teams to say, hey, your pricing is all out of whack. You should be doing X, Y, Z, because our cost of goods is a certain way.
Ravinder, what are some of the aha moments on the tech and the solution that you share internally at the company? Is it like top line only cost? Is there an engineering impact as well? What are some of the conversations like internally around getting this data?
Yeah, once we have granular reports, we were able to actually show and take it back to the actual product team. So there are a lot of product teams at Okta, we are using cloud infrastructure. Once we have the reports at granular level, we could actually go back to the teams and show, okay, this product is using so much of infrastructure and it is causing so much of AWS cost. Can you look at it? There could be options to actually make sure we can save money. So definitely, it started some conversations with them. So, I mean, it's definitely, I mean, like once you have that visibility, it's basically the big aha moment. Actually.
I was talking to a VC, we did a startup showcase a couple months ago, and it's an old school VC, they've been around multiple cycles, 90s, back in the web days too. And he's like, yeah, the craft of software and selling has changed, but also the entrepreneurial investment has changed, because you could hide behind, fake it till you make it, stuff can sit on the shelves, you not know the sell-through. With cloud, everything's measurable. So this whole product impact is a huge factor. When to abandon, when to double down. I mean, the formula for innovation, as proven in the Valley and in startups, is you get something out there, you iterate, pivot a little bit, reiterate, and just keep going until you get it right. When the metrics click, you're in the money. So data is critical. Has it been well received in the company, or are people like, oh, my project got cut? I'm not saying you cut project, I won't put words in your mouth, but this is a new time. Let's get back to culture. It's a cultural issue.
That's right. I guess the question is, how's that been received in terms of the visibility now?
Yeah, once we have the better visibility teams, it was a great learning for them too, actually. And they actually went and spent time to look at where we can save costs, at the end saving money to the company. And cultural aspect also is still part of a journey, by the way. It's going to take time, because first of all, once we have all the data, then we attribute all those to the actual teams who are actually spending those. So we are focusing on one team at a time, but it's going to take time to change that culture. But I think that's leadership takes it seriously, and we are making good progress.
I think, go ahead.
I was going to say, if I can add across our customer base, right? We believe that you should trust your engineering teams, because there's this myth out there that engineers don't care about cost. It's really about, they care when you really give them the right data and the trade-offs and the decision making, right? So again, Hulu is another one of our customers. As soon as they got visibility in the shared infrastructure, teams actually jumped on the opportunity to make it more efficient. You have to connect it back to strategic goals, right? Are you just saving costs, it's for the heck of saving costs, or are you really doing it because it moves the company forward, right? Sustainability is another key aspect of this that we believe in, which is the flip side of the economics, is climate change is the need of the moment, right? So you're not just wasting money, but you're also wasting resources. And digital infrastructure is increasingly becoming the modern day smokestack, right? So that's another ethos that we try to profess in addition to the economics, is that... I mean,
the force for good is definitely a social value, absolutely. And people are being measured by it. Again, back to the metrics, tying it back up. I mean, this really story kind of encapsulates what people have been talking about, engineers getting to the front lines with customers. And as engineers get closer to the customers, they can have an impact, not only from the modern application development, but engineering, data engineering, infrastructure engineering, all that. Now with Edge coming across, and you said multi-cloud, the challenges are continuing to come. It's not going away. Opportunities are there, but the challenges continue. I think engineering is going to be tied to the business. I think in the future, engineers are going to be knowing the metrics, what they mean, why they're important, and they're going to be probably incented. I'm not like salespeople, but more like, real variables. So I think this is a mega trend. The question is, for you guys is, what's next? What are some of the challenges that you see coming up? Because we're still growing in the cloud. More open source developers are coming online, more developers coming on into the world, data's a big factor, edge is happening. What are some of the challenges that you're seeing?
Yeah, I think one of the ones I mentioned is sustainability, right? So that'll become an increasingly important topic, especially as there are some of the regulations that come in. I think the other challenge is also on the talent front, additionally, because you can interview engineers for performance, reliability, system scale, but you also need to increasingly interview them for cost economics, right? Do they have experience scaling system financially responsibly?
Yeah.
Right, so I think that's another key thing, and my message to a lot of engineers and engineering teams is that if you can really hone in that skill, leverage a product like a Yotascale to help you, right? Then that actually adds more value to your cachet, and then that helps you move the company forward a lot more than a typical engineer would that's only concerned about reliability and performance and security. Not that they're not important, but the economics is starting to become equally important.
Yeah, and you can quantify it. You can see the consequences of it being solved with quantification. I mean, you can't deny the data. This is where engineering, the word is key. You're engineering the systems. I think it's the systems mindset. Well, great conversation. Thanks for coming on theCUBE. Final word, what's next for you guys? What's on the horizon? And you happy customer?
Oh yeah, definitely. It has been a great partnership. Actually, thanks to Asim and the team.
Awesome, congratulations. What's next?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of capabilities, as I mentioned, on the environmental front that we are doing, and you mentioned all this complexity. So a lot of work going on improving our cost anomaly detection, providing those guardrails. Predictive capacity planning is coming soon, so you can actually do what-if scenarios and really figure out in this multi-cloud environment, if I use certain resources, can I get those knobs dialed in? Can I not dial them in? And my sort of final comment would be that we offer a 2-week free POC, and you can easily kind of look at the results and see if that's something for you, and if it's if you're running a modern infrastructure and not very happy with the first-gen product, then we're happy to talk to you. All
right, Yotascale doing some great work, knowing how to engineer and refactor your businesses during the digital transformation, critical in cloud. The engineers going to the front lines. We've been saying it for years here on theCUBE. More coverage after this short break. Stay with us. Day 2 coverage of AWS in San Francisco, the Summit 2022. We'll be right back.